All right.
Hey, hold on. Let me get in camera, everybody. All right. Okay. Hey, it's Almost Human Live. And we're going to talk about the Ramones, and Tony Dio will be with us shortly because I was having problems logging on. But just to let everybody know, write this down in your folder of who gives a shit. Everybody has one of those folders, right?
Got one right here.
Hey, I have one of those folders. Every time fucking Wayne messages me, I put it in my I don't give a shit. Well, everybody out there, grab your I don't give a shit. Here comes Tony. Grab your I don't give a shit notebook and write this down. From now on, Almost Human Live is going on at 8:30. Tonight, it's 8. All right, we were 5 minutes late, but from now on, it's going to be 8:30. And yeah, man. So we got Richard with us again. Richard, put on your webcam. Can you hear?
Trying, dude.
Okay, no problem. We got
Hey,
Tony Dio, Count Ralphus, Wayne Noon,
That's right.
and Ralph Vieira,
Yay.
also known as Dr. Fuck.
ah,
Well, I was called Dr. Fuckalicious, but that's a little too long. It made me feel Jewish, so I had to change my name to get pop. Jewish people have to change their name. That's Gene Simmons. His real name is Chaim Vick. And that's fucked up because I like Jewish names. I'd make them popular. I want to like say, man, my God is Rosenthal, whoever that is. Hey, my doctor's Jewish, but I can't remember now his last name. But it's a Jewish, it's like Schwartz or something. And he's awesome.
A lot of Jewish people are awesome.
Anyway, I haven't grabbed my Ramone. I did grab my Ramones vinyls, but I got a lot of Ramone CDs. And we got a lot of history here with the
There
Ramones.
he is.
There's Richard. Richard's got some history with the Ramones. Tony, Ralph, Wayne, and me.
I have no history with the Ramones.
You don't?
No, because they were done by the time I got into them.
All right, let me knock you off this
All right. I'll
episode.
see you guys next week.
Anyway,
But
so
I do have this though. I bought this in the yard sale like last year. It's like a picture of the Ramones from when they were on The Simpsons.
I love that episode
Yeah,
where
it
it's
was a cool
oh,
episode.
you
Yep.
die, you bastards.
Yeah.
Kill the Rolling Stones. Do what I say.
The guy had a bunch of these. I was like, I gotta get one of those. I thought that was pretty cool.
Man, the Simpsons are still on.
Still on the longest running show
Ever.
ever, I think. Yeah, that and Monday
Yep.
Night Raw.
Monday
The
Night
long,
Raw.
yeah, the wrestling WWE.
Wow. I used
Wrestling.
to watch this. I used to love The Simpsons. I just stopped watching it.
I did
Now,
too. After they did the movie, it kind of just like died. It just wasn't
yeah,
the same. The movie was good, but it just
yeah.
didn't
But
follow
the
up after that.
thing is, like, it's not that I stopped watching The Simpsons. I stopped watching TV in general.
Oh yeah, I stopped doing that a couple of years.
I don't,
Actually, since I've been podcasting, I stopped watching a lot of TV.
I don't watch TV. Like,
Mm.
I have to spend time at my mom's house 1 day a week, and there I watched, and it was really good. It was the Pee Wee Herman story on
Oh
H.
Yeah.
yeah, very good documentary.
It was
Yes, it
real,
was.
and it was eerie the way it ended.
Hmm. Yeah, it was very sad. I wish he would have just finished the interview. I mean, I could see why he didn't because I guess he just felt
Well,
it wasn't going his way. But
yeah, but if you saw the documentary, Pee Wee was kind of a dick, you know. Even in the
Yeah.
end, he's showing he's kind of a dick.
yeah, he knows that.
I'm not speaking God of the dead. He said it. He's a
Yeah,
perfectionist. He'd get mad at people. Him and Phil Hartman had a fallout. And come
yeah,
on, who's nicer than Phil Hartman? You
yeah,
know?
yeah.
But
But
anyway,
it was funny when he was texting people happy birthday, and he rather do that than do the interview. There was some funny stuff in that.
yeah. But
Years ago, probably God, it was probably I don't know, around 2005 or six or something. I went to the Prague Power thing in Atlanta that they do every year, and the Prague Power Festival. And me and a friend, we had a hotel across the street, and we were in the elevator, and we're going up to our room. And when the elevator doors opened for us to go in, these two guys were coming out. And you look at somebody and you feel like you know them. This guy looked right at me, and I said, "Hey, how's it going?" He said, "Hey, how you doing?" And we just walked out, and my friend Ray said, "Who was that?" I said, "Dude, that was Pee Wee Herman." He goes, huh,
Wow.
"It was, wasn't it?" It was him.
That is crazy, man.
I was in a movie theater once and I kept hearing all this noise behind me, and the guy was fidgeting around with a long jacket on. And it wasn't until I was leaving that I was like, yo, I think that was Pee Wee.
I would not think you would be in one of those movie theaters though. That's kind of strange.
A weird thing to me when I went to go see Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
I'll never forget this. I'm in the line to see the movie, and there was a guy behind me to see another movie. And we made a little small talk, and then he goes, "Oh, what are you gonna go see?" I go, "Oh, I'm gonna go see Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure." He goes, "Dude, don't. That movie sucked. I saw it last week. Don't do it." And I was like, "Oh," it was with a date. I was like, "Ah, I got it." And I loved it. I thought it was a funny ass movie, man.
It's one of the best movies ever. It really
Yeah,
is.
it's fucking great. Large Marge and shit like that. So rest in peace, Pee Wee Herman. Now let's get into the Ramones. All right, I'll go later. Who wants to go first?
Somebody go first.
Well,
Not me, because I don't have much to tell. I had never seen them.
Yeah,
I only saw him once. I only saw him in 1996 at Lollapalooza in Rockingham, Speedway, Rockingham, North Carolina. It's the only chance I ever saw him. Well, it wasn't my only chance to see him. I passed on going to see him several times. They played in the area, and just something was going on, and I couldn't go. But I'm glad I went to that show, and I got to see him at least one time, and they were freaking awesome.
I
And
saw that same tour, Tony. I saw the same tour in West Palm Beach. It was Metallica, Soundgarden,
Soundgarden,
and
yeah.
Rancid. Anyway, and it was a hot motherfucking day in San.
Yeah, it was blazing hot where we were at. Yeah.
It was and the Ramones came out, all three. I don't know if Marky came out like this. They all came out in leather jackets. And I was like, whoa. And they blazed through like more than half the show in those leather jackets. And you could tell they're a sweaty mess. It was fucking.
Yeah.
But, well, I've seen the Ramones. I'll do my little story of the Ramones, then I'll talk later. When I was a little kid, in 1979, I should have pulled that out, the Over the Edge soundtrack. Oh, Manny. There's Manny.
Gonna say, yes. Just checking to see where he was.
Right, so I buy this album, and it's kind of, it's a compilation album, and on there is Teenage Lobotomy. And I fell in love with that song. Oh, I love the Ramones. So I ran out and bought Road to Ruin, and I got three of their records before they played the button set. Well, it's called the Agora Ballroom back then, in 1980, and I still wasn't of age to get to the club, but I went in with my older friends, and I tried to get in, and it didn't work, and I'm in the back, trying to hear the show, and the bouncers saw me, and they brought me in, and they let me watch the show from the stage. Now I'm 5'11", but at that time, doctors said I was gonna be a midget. Well, I'm sorry, a small person, whatever you want to. I'm sorry. What I really meant to say was a fucking midget.
Yeah.
So I was very little then. I looked like a little boy. I could have passed for a 9-year-old. And I'm up on stage watching the Ramones, the whole set. I just missed like the first two songs. And then when the show ended and the Ramones were leaving, I was on Dee Dee's side. Dee Dee walked and he rubbed my head and kept walking. That's my first Ramones story. I'll talk later about the Ramones.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
The first time I saw the Ramones at the end of the Century tour, it was fucking amazing. Yeah. It was fucking amazing.
Good time to see them.
Hey, Ralph.
Yo.
Talk a little about your history with the Ramones.
Well, right when you just said Over the Edge, I didn't even think about it, but that could possibly be the first time I ever heard them too. I never really even thought about it, but I worship that movie. It was like that movie, like I was such a little like maniac kid. I used to fucking worship that movie. But yeah, I mean, living in New York, the Ramones were playing all the time. I could have seen them a million friggin' times, but I got into them in like the mid '80s or little late '80s, I would say. I got into like the Sex Pistols, and I got Ramones Mania was my first album, and I kind of felt like it was the only thing I needed at the time. I didn't know
Mm.
any better, but it was a best of, and it just had, every song was great. And for a while, this was the only one I had, and then I slowly started picking them up as I went along, and they played in Middletown, Rock, right next door to Rock Fantasy, this little club. And I remember hearing about it, kind of like came up out of nowhere. It popped up, and I didn't go to it because none of my friends were talking about it. We were all like in the Slayer and stuff at the time, and I didn't hear anybody talking about it. And then like the next day, everybody was like, they all went, and I didn't realize. But I remember Keeler said that he went, and he said it was so packed that as soon as he walked in, he just went right back outside because you could hear it outside the club, but he said you couldn't move inside the club. Like they totally oversold it, you know? So it sounded like it would kind of would have been a shitty show unless I got there early, but I could have seen him with Dee Dee at that time. And I really regret that I didn't go. And I ended up going to see him at the Chance. I got the poster. It was like right behind me. I bought this poster, the one in the middle here, the 20-year anniversary. And I bought this at that same concert. I bought this autographed 8x10 by the whole band.
Very
But
cool.
it's when CJ was in the band, and yeah, but that was pretty much the beginning for me. And I mean, once I got going with getting the albums, I had to get everything. I pretty much have everything they ever did, like one way or another, and I got a bunch of crap to show as we go along.
The only thing I own every Ramones release except for your shirt. I don't have Acid Eater.
Oh, it's such a good album. It's like maybe my favorite
Bruce.
covers album there is.
Yeah.
It's just I love it. Every song, the production is a fucking amazing. It's a really, really great album.
Yeah, I don't know why I never bought that one. I'll show off my collection as well later.
Mine is signed by CJ. When I met CJ, I got him to sign this one.
Nice.
Yeah,
So,
it's a classic album to me.
so Richard, tell us your
Yes.
tell us your story with the Ramones, man.
Seen the Ramones quite a few times in the mid '80s and late '80s through the '90s, um, up until '96, '98, and it was one of my great disappointments was I never did the footwork to meet them except for in like my first time was probably '90, and because that was I didn't know that CJ had quit or Dee Dee had quit and CJ was in the band, and I just assumed Dee Dee was there, and then they showed up and it was CJ, and then I was sort of disappointed, but the guy was so cool. He was like this Marine guy and covered in tats, and he was really childish and really energetic. He was great. And then I found out, yes, of course, I see Dee Dee King's rap album on MTV, and I was like, oh my God, I'm glad Dee Dee left because I hated rap. But but yeah, that the my one sad thing is that I met him that day at Masquerade Club, and I had a 110 Kodak camera, and if you ever remember those, you wound the film after you were taking a photo, wound the film, take a photo, wound, and took these pictures with the Ramones that day, and just kept using the camera day, night, next day, and then realized, hey, I've taken like 100 photos, and got them developed. And of course, all the Ramones photos was overexposed, like
Ugh.
you know. And it was so stupid too. We just used to go to shows and take a picture of the parking lot or a picture of us at Burger King. And it was just dumb shit. And I took pictures over Us with the Ramones
Yeah.
were just the dumbest shit you could. Another thing about that day was I got a friend who was the manager of a record store here about 15 miles south of downtown. It was a chain here called Turtles back then, and the Ramones did an in-store there, and I had no idea. He's like, "Oh, I thought you knew." No, I did. I had no idea that Ramones were doing an in-store there that day. So I was sitting at the club waiting, but they were doing an in-store. And it was sort of, but the show, of course, was great. It is still one of my favorite records with, you know, Merry Christmas and uh, Pet Cemetery and all that stuff. It's still a great album. Still one of the best, the strongest records. You know, after the first 4 or 5, that's a good one. But shows were always packed. Shows were always packed. They were always hot. It felt like the floor was going to give in that night. It was an old mill here that they converted into a club, and I saw several Ramones there a few times. It always felt like the floor was going to cave in. The Bad Brains felt like the floor was going to cave in because I really believe they sold way too many tickets. You know how clubs were, they'd sell way too many to skim the money or whatever for themselves. But yeah, I saw a lot of metal shows there too. The same thing, like Motorhead and um, I don't know, Sabotage. Actually, once it was that crowded for Sabotage and Trouble, it was that crowded. But yeah, Ramones were always really consistent, and I mean, it's just, it's like Motorhead. It'll be here forever, and they crossed so many, because I knew people that were into punk rock, people that were into metal, but it seems like everyone loved the Ramones. I didn't know anybody that really didn't like. I mean, whether you were into hardcore agnostic front, whether you were into Slayer, I mean, everyone I knew sort of loved the Ramones. So I thought always that was sort of unique about them. I mean, so it was cool to get to see them. I've worked with people the last 5 years, and they wear Ramone shirts and told me they went to Johnny Ramone's grave. And I was like, yeah, how many times you see him? None. I was born in 1990. And I'm like, oh my God. It's like, I can't imagine never seeing them. But that's just part of getting old. All these young people are into these bands that we took for granted. We took Motorhead for granted and Dio, and they're all dead now. But you know, it sucks. But yeah, definitely the Ramones at the top of the heap. I don't have the soundtrack you guys were talking about, oddly enough, but I do have the Rock and Roll High School soundtrack, and it's signed by the girl PJ Souls or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Riff Randall.
Yeah,
Hell yeah,
exactly.
Riff.
Did you see it? Can you see it, Tony?
Yeah.
Did it show
Killer.
Tony? Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
I can see it.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, I've got an autograph picture by her somewhere around here. It's a shot from Halloween with her.
Yeah, yeah. I love her in Halloween.
Yeah.
That girl's awesome.
I got an 8x10 signed by her, and I got it from Rock and Roll High School with her dancing with the Ramones behind her. I didn't even think of bringing it out tonight, but I do have the old soundtrack vinyl.
The DVD.
Yeah, that's cool.
I do know two people that don't like the Ramones, and they don't know each other or anything, right? And it's coincidental because they're both into bestiality. Hey, Manny, why don't you tell
So,
Okay.
Oh wait, Richard.
my daughter was first grade, just started first grade, and she wanted an iPod. And of course, I loaded her. She would hear stuff I listened to, and she fell in love with the Ramones, like just instinctively singing along to the Ramones. And I put "Beat on the Brat" is the song she wanted on her iPod, and my wife got a call. Um, the teacher was disturbed that my daughter was walking around the class saying beat on the brat with a baseball bat, and she wanted to know what my daughter was being exposed to. And of course my wife had to explain to her it's just a Ramon song. They have a song about beating on a brat with a baseball bat, and it's pretty funny. But my daughter's first time in trouble in school.
It's the truth, though. They sing the truth. You should beat on brats with baseball bats.
Yeah, it's a brat. They should be beat with a baseball.
Right.
Yeah.
That's something they should teach in school. They should have a class about how you beat on a brat with a baseball bat.
Well, Joey also says, what are you going to do with a brat like that always on your back? He
Right.
tried, and the kid didn't listen. What are you going to do?
He's always on your back, man.
Yeah, he tried. He
But,
tried.
but the class should teach you that they don't have to be on your back. Just beat them anyway.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, yeah. The joke, what do you tell a woman with two black eyes? Nothing. You already told her twice. But
Oh, that's offensive. Like the other day, I was offended by this guy that said to me, the only metal girls should be into are pots and pans. And I was like, come on, dude. That's not nice. That's very offensive. As a feminist, I'm offended. Manny. Oh, wait, Richard, are you done? Because we'll come back to you too.
yeah, go ahead. Let's shop it around here. Yeah.
Well, mine's simple. I was getting into punk because I read an article on the Sex Pistols. It was actually Nancy, whatever her name's last name is. Her mom had written an article on there, a book, and they had it was an excerpt of an article in Playboy of all things. So I was looking at the pictures and I saw a bloody picture of Sid Vicious. Well, what does it have to do with Ramones? At the end of the article, there was a small little music section in there. Between pictures of tits, there was one little small where the essential punk albums, and number one was the Ramones' first album. I never heard the Ramones, so I went and bought it, and I thought it was great. To me, every song sounded the same almost the first time I heard it, but I don't know why I kept going back and back to it. And then the second album I bought was Ramones Mania. So whatever year that came out was the year I got into the Ramones, because I bought those around the same time. And then I saw the Ramones in '88. The only time I saw them at Janice Landing. My friend said COC opened for him, but if they did, I don't remember. I don't remember. What I do remember, it was packed, but it wasn't super packed. What I do remember is Joey Ramone would stand up there. Dee Dee would go 1, 2, 3, and they'd go into a song. I don't think Joey Ramone moved a muscle or said a word other than sing the songs. They were great. They ran into each other. I don't know how many. It seemed like they played all their songs are 30 seconds long. But it was great. It's one of the best shows I've ever seen. And I never saw them again. I'm pretty sure they came back to around Tampa a few times, but I never saw them again after '88. That's one and only time.
That's a good year.
How about you, Tony?
What's that? I mean, like I said, I only saw him once. Oh, when did I get into him? Is that what you're asking? Yeah. I don't know. I think I rented Rock and Roll High School when like when you could go rent VHS tapes or whatever from the store. I used to always go on Friday. I didn't work on Fridays. This is right after I got out of school. I really wasn't into them back in high school and stuff. I remember hearing some stuff by them and stuff, but it was after I graduated, maybe around '87 or something. And I watched that movie, and the thing I went out to buy was just like what everybody else has said. I went out and got Ramones Mania, was the first thing that I ever picked up by them. And I picked up a few other things over the years. I actually had 5 or 6 Ramones CDs that went missing after my divorce. So who knows? She didn't take many CDs, but she did like the Ramones. So maybe that's where they went. But since then, I've only picked up I picked up an anthology, and I've got the first couple records, the remasters that came out with the bonus tracks and stuff. It's got some alternate versions of some of the songs. So I need to get busy and get a few of the other ones. But I always liked Brain Drain and, like Too Tough to Die. They were always, ones that I like to listen to. But yeah, great songs. I wish I could have seen them more. What did anybody get Joey's solo record that he did like right before he died?
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah.
But I didn't buy it till a couple of years after he passed away, Tony.
Yeah.
But I like it.
When I was working at Sanctuary, we were promoting that album and all, and he had like a re-recording of Merry Christmas, I Don't Want to Fight that came out on a CD single for Christmas. And he had a song called Christmas Spirit that he'd done, like a little CD single thing for the holidays.
I bought it right when it came out. It was super sad. Like he didn't want to be in the hospital bed and stuff like that. And it's like he knew what was going on. And then this one came out a while later after he died. They found other stuff and put it together. But this one came out a couple years later. But this came out like
never heard of
before he died.
So what was that one count? So the second one you held up, so that was like
Don't Worry About Me was Don't Worry About Me was the first one, and then
right.
Joey Ramone, it's called. But there's
so that was assembled. That was assembled.
15 songs. It was like stuff that they didn't have completed until, and maybe they put some of it together and stuff from what I remember, because it came out a couple years later. It was like all of a sudden there was another Joey Ramone album.
I never saw that one.
Let me ask you, on that album, the second album, I don't have that one. I gotta get.
I don't have that either.
I don't have it either.
I don't go back to this one as much. This one is like a classic to me. Like it's just so catchy, and it's super. It's sad to me, but it's actually happy at the same time. It's really weird album.
What a Wonderful World is my favorite version ever.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So good how they do it.
My question is, on the second album, does it have the song "I'll Be With You Tonight"? Because that's a song that's on YouTube, and I'm like, where the hell is this from? Is that on there? I know you got to read a lot of freaking songs.
I don't see it.
Is that a Joey solo track, Ralph?
It's a Cheap Trick cover.
But I mean, it was done as a solo artist. Is what I'm saying. Yeah.
On YouTube, it's Joey Ramone. I'll Be With You Tonight.
Maybe it's on a Cheap Trick tribute album. Maybe.
Was there a Cheap Trick tribute album?
Not that I know.
Tony, there's a tribute album to me, and I'm not even famous. There's a tribute album to everybody.
I recorded on that one.
Probably on Deadline. Yeah.
Here's a little trivia. See if any of you know it. I have a feeling Wayne's gonna guess this.
What's that?
Rock and Roll High School was not supposed to feature the Ramones. What was the original band that was supposed to be on?
I think it was it the Bee Gees? It was somebody weird. I remember. Oh damn! I know this.
Was it Cheap Trick?
It was Cheap Trick.
Yeah, I think I heard that once. Yeah.
No, there was something totally different though. Roger Corman wanted it to be a disco band, so it wasn't. It might not have been the Bee Gees, but it was something like that. I'm telling you, it was.
I have the Blu-ray of Rock and Roll High School.
Yeah.
And it says it in the extras.
Yeah, this has got all the extras and stuff too. But I remember originally Roger Corman wanted it to be a disco band, but maybe Cheap Trick was too expensive at the time, so they went with the Ramones because they were real cheap to get. But I know eventually somebody had to talk Roger Corman into going to make it Rock and Roll High School, not like Disco High School or whatever.
Right.
Thank God.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
And I gotta say, all this talk about Ramones Mania, there is not a better album to get into the Ramones.
Yeah, it's got everything.
That is the perfect. Every song on that freaking album it's a killer. It's a killer, man. So, I already had several Ramones albums, but I bought that only because of Indian Giver, because Indian Giver was on none of my albums and CDs. But my God, they really went all out, man. With even the track listing, the way it flows, it's an amazing.
Yeah, I agree. That was the second Ramones thing I ever bought. And a matter of fact, Ralph, everyone I know who got into the Ramones, my age and younger, that is the first thing most of them have bought is Ramones Mania. That thing has got to be platinum or something.
I remember hearing it was the only gold album they ever had was that album.
Yeah.
Well, really? Well, Ralph number two. You bring up an interesting point, because when you hear people talk about, we'll wait to it. But I was going to say, when you hear people talk about the Ramones, you would think they were a stadium act. You see kids wear T-shirts and things. And it's just
They
weird.
they did do a tour with Black Sabbath that didn't go too long. It was like I think they lasted like 2 dates and they got bottled the whole time and then
Really?
they were off the tour. But they were opening up in arenas for a
And
minute.
they were playing stadiums in Brazil.
Yeah.
I'm
And
sure
you're,
some of you have End of the Century, probably one of the
oh yeah.
great documentaries ever.
Oh,
And
it's excellent.
and the footage of, yeah, there you go. I got that DVD. The footage of the people beating on the van when they're trying to leave is, dude,
Yeah.
even watching it
Yeah, it was
is,
like the Beatles. They're like the Beatles or something, you know. They getting chased down the road and shit.
they show them playing in a freaking stadium. They were humongous down there, man.
But was it that toward the end of their career, Ralph?
No, well, CJ was there, but,
Yeah,
but CJ was
yeah.
there.
It was near the end.
It
In
was
the
a
mid '90s, yeah.
it was a good 10 years, right? CJ was in the
Yeah.
band.
Was he there 10 years, guys?
Well, that DV that this DVD didn't come out until after they were broken up, I believe.
Yeah,
So
Well, yeah,
I'm pretty
you're
sure.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This came
Hey,
out in like 2005 or something like that.
I just remember reading something recently, or unless Richard, I can't remember. Did you tell me this or did I read it about Trouble opening for the Ramones?
Yeah, Bruce
Um,
Franklin told me they opened like a week of dates on the Ramones. That he asked me if I knew that, and I was like, no, I had no idea. And he told me the story how they played every night, and he just felt like the crowd, nobody really wanted him there, but whatever management put them there with Trouble for like a week, and they did it, and they never spoke to anybody in the Ramones, and none of the people seemed to be into Trouble. And then the last night they played the show and were loading out, and Johnny Ramone came up to Bruce and said, "Oh, I just heard it's your last show. I'm very sad. I love you guys." And Bruce Franklin was like, "Oh, you really?" And he's like, "Yeah, I've been digging you guys. You got that '60s, early '70s vibe, and I really like you guys." And he said, "I love your playing, and I'm a big fan of Trouble now." And then Bruce was like, he just thought no one in the Ramones even knew they existed, and Johnny Ramone's out, paying them compliments and praises. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's
Bruce
so
told me
cool.
that.
That's
so,
all.
Yeah, I looked it up, and they actually played the Boathouse in Norfolk in
Yeah. Wow.
1990 together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, that
so
was great to
since
see.
you were there, or you and Ralph were there, was my perception wrong, or was it just a show I attended? Wasn't a lot of people. They weren't they weren't playing big places until almost they broke up doing Lollapalooza, I believe they did. I mean, am I wrong, guys? They were never huge until after it was over.
Yeah. I mean, they got a little bigger though, down here because I used to see them. This place called Club New, the Tree Out. They're all clubs, and I saw them. But then when CJ joined, they started to play the theaters. They got bigger with CJ as far as
Yeah.
concert tenant. So in the '90s it grew, but yeah, in the '80s, Hallway of Sanity and Too Tough to Die, one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Uh, they were playing little clubs, man. They were
Well,
playing little, and
Yeah. The biggest,
yeah, go
the
ahead.
biggest. I don't know what year Kurt Cobain killed himself, but I saw him the day Kurt Cobain killed himself. What was that, 93, 94,
90,
95?
94.
94. So seen, and it was a theater that just last year I saw Saxon Uriah Heep there. I saw KK's Priest and LA Guns, and so it's a bigger theater. It's called it used to be called the Roxy. Anyway, I saw the Ramones there that day, and I've forgotten about that show till just now. And right before they played Pet Cemetery, Joey Ramone said, "Yeah, we just heard Kurt Cobain committed suicide today. Yeah, way to go out like a punk." And this song's dedicated to him. And they played Pet Cemetery.
Wow.
Wow,
You know,
that's actually
some,
A
cool.
weird choice of song to play.
No
Well,
kidding.
I
Well, I
got
guess "Beat on the Brat" wasn't really a good choice. So
I want to sniff some glue. I don't know.
53rd and third. Now look, oddly enough, the day Kurt Cobain died, I found out at a concert from Rob Halford. Fight was opening for Anthrax in '94, and he
Wow.
goes, and he said, "This goes out to Kurt Cobain," and he played. I'm not lying. He played "Nailed to the Gun."
Hmm.
Now,
Wow.
and then I wasn't quite sure what he meant by that. And then after the show, I was like, oh, he killed himself. So in a way, Rob Halford was the first one to, and it was that same day that Richard saw the Ramones, man.
Right. Yeah. Crazy.
Man.
But do you think, and this is for all of you guys, because the alternative rock thing was making them big, I believe, or bigger. Ramones Mania was probably selling a lot. Do you think if they didn't start getting ill and fighting and all that, or just exhaustion, if they had hung out, they would have finally made it to a mainstream level? Because now you see Joey Ramone action figures, Funko Pops, T-shirts. You know what I mean, guys?
Well,
What do you think?
everybody has a Funko Pop now, though.
I understand that's awesome. Joey bobblehead. I understand how they should,
Perfect.
but I don't think they would have been because already in the '90s, there's no old time band that made it big. You know what I mean?
No.
So they would
Other bands copped their style too and capitalized on it, like bands like Green Day and shit. They totally
Yeah.
like
I hear Ramones in Nirvana.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Like,
And they would totally cop to that, that they liked the Ramones. So,
yes.
um, I just wondered because, like Iggy Pop, like if you read about Iggy Pop, who's still touring, you would think Iggy Pop was a platinum act, and it's not an insult to Iggy Pop. I don't think sales indicate artistic, achievement or lack thereof. But Iggy Pop was never a stadium act. Maybe he plays bigger places now, but I saw him at Janice Landing in the early '80s. I just wondered what your take on it was. Sorry, I didn't mean to take over there, Ralph. I just
I,
curious.
But the interesting about Iggy Pop though is that they're doing this big show in Brooklyn. It's like under a bridge, and it's like a whole day of punk bands. And the Sex Pistols are playing it with that other guy singing. The Damned are on there, Murphy's Law, all these bands. But Iggy Pop is the headliner of them all, so he does get the respect, but never was for the masses, I guess.
and
Yeah, well, I'm a huge fan, but I just wondered. Anyway, Ralph, sorry.
the Ramones were huge fans of the Stooges. They say
Yeah.
that they would get together and just jam on the Stooges before they were the Ramones, and they
My,
all had that in common. You know.
I think there's bands like Ramones, Motorhead, that just they weren't meant to be selling out stadiums or what. I mean, even you know, it's just not meant to be. It's like they should have maybe done more, but it's like, um, I read an article with uh, it was either Seymour Stein or Monty, the road manager. He's like, we used to go from country to country, and the joke was if the Ramones had a penny for every Ramones T-shirt, you know, they'd be in a private jet because I mean the
Yeah.
T-shirt, even like Friends, Jennifer Aniston has a Ramones T-shirt on or whatever. It's like, everybody has Ramones shirts, but yeah, they never sold that. The record sales didn't reflect the T-shirt sales, and they didn't get all the money from the T-shirts. So, you know,
Who
Yeah.
the hell got the money then? I mean, that's a lot of friggin' T-shirts you see out there.
Elvis Ramone quit the Ramones
Clem
because
Clemson,
he quit. He quit because they
Clem,
wouldn't.
not
He,
Clem Clemson,
he was in
Clem
documentary.
Burke.
Clem
Clem
Burke. That's
Burke.
Elvis. That's Elvis Ramone, right? Clem Burke from Blondie.
He's like,
Mhm.
all I wanted was a little T-shirt money. They wouldn't give me none, so they fired his ass. Brought Marky back.
Well, Marky threatened to quit because they were like 2 days out from a show, and he said, "If y'all don't get a raise, I'm quitting." And they just said, "Quit," and they called Clem Burke.
That's the story.
Yeah,
Jeez.
and they called him Elvis Ramone, and then of course he didn't want to stay with the Ramones. He did the shows, and then Marky
And
came back.
Well,
I'm,
Richie Ramone was in there for a while.
I'm gonna hold.
Speaking.
I'm gonna hold up the Ramones albums, and everybody tell me what you think of "Leave Home," their second album.
Born
Kicks
Enough
ass.
Blues.
Huh?
Kick, kicks ass. My comment.
Love it. Love it.
Oh yeah,
They don't have anything that's bad. I mean,
yeah.
there may be songs
really.
that's just better than other songs, but I mean,
I even like
you
End of
know,
the Century, and I hate Phil Spector. I think he's overrated producer. Bullshit. Let me spend. Did you hear that he made Dee Dee Ramone record a bass line for 9 hours?
He held
What
him at
kind of
gunpoint.
lunatic would make a? Oh, never mind. Anyway, go ahead.
He held him at
That
gunpoint. It's in
album
Marky's
cover
book.
was the worst.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this album.
Yeah, it's a good
too
one.
tough
I
to
like
die.
it too. It's the
And-
cover is the one it's hard to stomach. Dee Dee was the only one with a black shirt on. They all everybody else looks like an idiot with the stupid color.
Yeah,
I
but
wonder if
it
that was their
doesn't
idea or
sound-
the photographer's idea.
But it doesn't
Yo.
sound that much different than the previous album. What was the point in hiring Phil Spector?
It did have a little bit of that kitchen sink stuff on some of the songs. Though
Yeah, you're right.
I didn't mind it. I liked it, but it was a little softer, you know. I'll tell you this,
Well,
there's Ramone CDs I have here that I don't listen to, and I listened to them all today, and I'm gonna point them out, man. I like them all more now. Pleasant Dreams I like more now listening to it than I ever had in the past. This is some good
never
stuff.
had that one.
7-Eleven,
Excellent, dude.
She's a Sensation. The KKK took my bit,
KKK. Yep.
which is
None of that song.
a song I covered that we never ever released, but I still got it. We did a cover of the KKK. Animal Boy.
I
That's
love
the
Animal
only
Boy.
one I've
That's a
never
great
owned.
I like the
Ralph.
song. Yeah.
That's the only one I've never owned.
My brain is hanging upside down.
One of my
Yeah.
favorites.
Boy, somebody's put something in my drink. Freak of
One of my
Nature.
favorites.
That's one of my favorites. Yeah, someone put something in my drink. One of my favorites.
And
Guys, I can't even find that anywhere on CD.
Freak of Nature is great. I got
A
it.
bunch of their for a while there before vinyl came back so strong. The Ramone CDs were out of print. They were selling for a lot on eBay.
Oh, wow.
You couldn't find them, certain ones.
And now I'm probably gonna have to.
This was
But
a
they
good one to
re-
find. It's like the first 6 of them in one box set, and it's like $30 that you can get it
Man,
on
I need to get
Amazon.
that. Yeah.
But they
Yeah, it's like
they
the first.
reissued them with
76 to
bonus
81.
tracks though.
This just came out on Record Store Day on vinyl.
Yeah,
Look,
I bought that on
Rocco
Record Store Day
Live,
on
yep.
vinyl.
I had that on cassette.
I got mine signed by CJ Ramone on CD.
Halfway to Sanity. This one I saw this tour. Bob Till You Drop is kick ass. But this is the one I don't listen to much. I listened to it today and I really enjoyed it. I
It is a
enjoyed.
great one.
Here's a weird one. I took this from the radio station I used to be at.
Oh, Greatest Hits Live.
Yeah,
that's,
Great Big Fly. They
that's
do
the
a
second
cover,
one I owned.
They do a cover of Ramone,
Spider-Man.
the Motorhead song. Motorhead does it better. I didn't like the way they did the Ramones. Their last album.
I actually like that album a lot.
Yeah, this album was a grower. I didn't like it much in the beginning, but then I did.
That's the first one I bought.
I got this one on vinyl, signed by CJ too.
Nice.
I didn't even know that was that on vinyl, Ralph.
I was working at Caroline Records at the time, so I still had access to vinyl, but all these vinyl got sent overseas from the warehouse. And like some record stores would order one copy, but no one was buying vinyl at the time. So luckily I was there to get it.
Killer.
Check
Place
this
right there.
out. So Ralph, I got that on vinyl too, but I got a misprint, a factory misprint where they put
Oh,
two
shit.
stickers on.
Oh,
Oh,
Wow.
man.
Really crazy. But yeah,
Yeah.
you can't play it, but the glue,
Yeah.
I guess they tried to put the sticker off, but then they put it in the correct place, but the glue is already in the groove, so there's
Grooves.
nothing you can do about it. Yeah.
I've never had
Damn.
an album that looked like that. That's the only time I've ever seen something like that.
It's weird.
Crazy.
So,
We were talking about Brain Drain earlier. There's another one that I love a lot today, but in the past, it's not that I dislike these Ramones albums. I just never would put them on. Now
I love this. I love this album. It's a great album.
I'm gonna show you one that I think is their best album since Road to Ruin. But a lot of Ramones fans hate this album. They put it at the bottom. I've seen rankings, and even Johnny Ramone hates Mondo Bizarro. But this is my favorite Ramones
Good
album.
songs on there.
Album's great.
Censorship.
It's a great album. And it's got that, yeah, it's got the
It sounds
song
good too.
Poison
Strength to
Heart. Yeah, it's
Endure.
got great
Yeah, I love
production.
that.
A lot of bottom end. A lot of the later Ramones albums sounded so much thicker, not as tinny as like the really early stuff. I really like the production on the later albums.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a bit of trivia about that album. All right. There's a Doors member on there on that album.
Robbie.
Great.
Right, Robbie Krieger. And I found out the other day on Billy Corgan's podcast that the only member whoever was allowed to go on stage with the Ramones is Robbie Krieger when they played. I did not know that till the other day.
There's a story. It's on YouTube. The Red Hot Chili Peppers. They were so honored to play with the Ramones or some shit that during one of the songs they all came out naked, dancing across the stage. And after the show, Johnny Ramone gave him an earful. Like, he fucked up my show. What the fuck is wrong
yeah,
with-"
he was pissed. Yeah, he was pissed about that.
And then Joey Ramone went up to him later going, "Hey, I liked it." This album, man, Anxiety, Strength to Endure with CJ singing, and Main Man, Take It As It Come. Great Doors cover. Cabby's on Crack, which has, by the way, Vernon Reid on guitar.
Very good guitar player. I know him very well.
And
Good player, terrible tone.
this has an extra song in the CD, the Spider-Man cover, which is amazing.
I love the
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought they only did that live. So
No, it's actually on a compilation of TV cartoon shows. There's a compilation, but they added it on the vinyl of that. All right, here's
CJ brought new life into that band.
Yeah,
you think so, dude?
He really
You
took
guys
it
think so?
over, and if it wasn't for him, I don't know if they really would have continued. Oh my god!
Well, but Dee was still writing for them even after he left the band. He was
Yeah.
still writing
Oh,
lyrics
really?
for him.
Yeah,
and
he's got a lot of songwriting credits. So.
there's a song on here, Dee Dee's rap album, that ended up on the last Ramones album, Adios Amigo, which is The Crusher.
Huh.
The original version of Crusher. So Dee Dee gave them The Crusher.
Hmm.
But yeah, this is horrible. But I have it because it makes me laugh. And some songs are okay. They're not that bad.
I think Didi Ramone played Tampa like a couple of weeks before he died at the Brass Mug. I didn't go, but my friends did, and they said he had a blast, and then I guess died a short while later. I don't know I didn't go though, so I don't.
This was my first Ramones album, the one that made me a complete freak, because it had it has "I Want to Be Sedated." That when my niece and nephew were little kids, they would always say, "Uncle Ralphie played 2020 24 hours ago." They didn't know that. But oh my god, what a great this! Like after this, they never made an album as good. I don't think.
I love that album cover.
Yeah, the album cover is fucking classic. I got to get a shirt like that. And I just want to have something to do. Needles and Pins is amazing. I'm against it. I don't like Burger King. I don't like anything. Questioningly is awesome.
I believe this album. I believe this album was Marky's first album too, right? With them.
What year did that come out, Ralph?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Well, this picture that's on the back of it is the very first show they ever played outside of the city, and it was Marky's first show with the band was at this place, The Chance, that it was my main concert venue to go to for my whole life until like 2 years ago when it finally closed down. But Yeah, that photograph was taken at Marky's first show at the Champs,
You
And
know,
and
we
it was their first time playing
we
outside of the city.
if I
we
remember
forgot.
correctly, they had to change the artwork because the artist did it with Tommy, and then they had to switch it out.
We forgot to ask Wayne how he got into the Ramones.
Well, have a good night, everybody. That's enough.
This was a great comeback. It's not that I disliked the albums before, but this was a little more stronger, a little more edgier with Mama's Boy and oh man, Too Tough to Die is awesome. Warhog, where fucking Dee Dee goes ape shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool song.
Planet Earth
I,
19.
I got my cover signed by Richie Ramone.
Oh, nice.
Oh, cool.
Where'd you meet
They even have
Richie
a-
at?
Looks like it says Babe Ramone.
Richie was at a Chiller Theater convention, and I got the picture right here. Here's a picture of me with that album that was showing me with Richie Ramone.
Nice.
And then I got here's a picture of me and my wife with Marky Ramone.
Very cool.
And I got this last one here is me getting my shit signed by CJ Ramone.
Oh, that's cool.
Very
Does
cool.
he still go by CJ Ramone when he records solo albums, or does he go by his name?
I'm not sure. I mean, when he was
Because
playing, he was CJ Ramone. Yeah, he was CJ Ramone when he was playing.
well, I didn't know if legally he could use the name because those guys are all weirdos about. There was supposed to be a biopic about Joey Ramone, and him and Johnny Ramone's estate got into it about the song music usage of the song, so that got shit canned. So even in death, those two guys' family can't even get along. It's just amazing.
Well,
Yeah.
Marky Ramone still goes by Marky Ramone. He doesn't go by Mark Bell, and he's still out there playing Ramone songs and stuff.
Yep, he's in Spain tonight playing Ramon songs.
Speaking of which, you guys familiar with his past? He was in this band Dust.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
That features the two guys that recorded the first couple Kiss albums.
Well, one
Yeah.
of them, Richie Wise.
Yeah, Richie
The
Wise.
other, they're a three-piece. Richie Wise is the first guy here, and he was the guy that recorded the first two Kiss records. Marky's in the middle, and the guy on the end is Kenny Aronson, who played with everybody. He actually autographed this for me. He played in like Billy Squire's band, and he was in what was it? He was in the thing with Hagar, HSAS, Neil Sean, and God, who else did he played with everybody. He played in Stories and stuff like. I mean, the band Stories, and God, he's been in so many.
I remember
bands,
talking about that. I remember talking about that guy on the Sea of Tranquility episode, and I had a whole list of all the stuff that guy did.
Yeah,
I found that band because of Marky Ramone, thinking he was like the star of it, and then I was like, oh my God, who the fuck's this guy? He did a million things.
Kenny signed this at a Derringer. He played with Rick Derringer, the band Derringer, and I went to see them, and that's where I got it.
Well, you're the one
who
who told me about Dan Derringer because I just dismissed Rick Derringer because of Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo. Honestly, I mean, it's an okay song, but
that's a good album. That's the only Rick Derringer.
That's what he was saying.
I have another one, Girls and Guitars or something like that.
Guitars and Women.
That's a good album. That's a good rock album. Here's a weird one.
That's a great fucking album, Ralph.
Subterranean Jungle.
It's a great album, but it's very different in a way. Like the cover of Time. But man, Psychotherapy, that's one of the greatest Ramone songs, man. Outsider. Yep. Every time I eat vegetables, I think of you. That's a nice tune.
Hey, you guys keep bringing up CJ Ramone. How come on the last couple albums he took on more lead vocals than
because Dee Dee used to sing a lot of the songs too to break it up a little bit. So then he's taken over the bass player spot. He took over some of the vocals.
This is one of the greatest live albums ever. It's Alive.
Oh, that's a great live album.
This album is fucking flawless. It's Ramones at the rawest. Well, yeah, the studio albums were pretty raw at the time, but this was a little more energetic. This is an amazing, amazing double album.
I think I
It's
like Loco Live a little better.
Yeah, I dug out a few little things to show. One of the things I dug out is a Japanese copy of that. That
Oh,
Oh
that's a
wow.
cool album cover, dude.
it's yeah, it's you know, it's it's a good one.
cool.
Are they singing in Japanese on that?
Yes, yes. Domo
Okay.
arigato, Mr. Roboto. Yes.
Oh God, don't ever. Geez.
This
I
is
like Sticks.
this is I have two record store days. This one is live at let's see, Australia in 1980, and then I got this other one from the Ritz in 1976. This was the record store day. Raw and Killer, and of course, the third album, one of their best, Riot of Russia, and my last one, which shows you I have everything but Acid Eaters. The first one, man. The shit is fucking legendary.
Chainsaw.
Legendary.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
This
It's got the same one remaster or
this band, this album here really was a game changer because they went to England and they spawned the Sex Pistols, the Clash, all these fucking bands.
Well, I believe that, but also something no one ever speaks of. And I think now it's due in part because Johnny was not a commie little liberal, Green Day person. You look at the Hall of Fame induction, he says, God bless the troops. God bless George Bush. God bless the United States of America. I think that's why people they ignore his contribution, but he invented down picking.
Oh,
Thus hardcore punk, thus thrash metal, everything that spawned from that down picking is legendary, but he never gets the credit for it. It sort of pisses me off. But he was the first one to do it. So
Well, here's my vinyl version of Too Tough to Die. I had them all, but I had stuff happen, so I don't have them all anymore. Just a record store day, local live. It's not an original. Here's another record store day one called 1975 Sire Demos. By the way, was this ever released on as bonus tracks or anything?
I don't
On
know.
anything that you guys know?
I'm not
And
sure.
this is the record store day of Pleasant Dreams, which apparently is a different mix. I don't remember what record store day. I said I didn't have Animal Boy, but I forgot I bought the reissue. What is this, Rocktober? You know how they do that? Well, I bought the reissue, but I've never owned it till the reissue. I'd like to get it on CD, but I haven't seen it on CD. Anyway, that's my on vinyl anyway for Ramones collection. And Wayne,
I got a record store day one that no one picked. No one showed this one. It's
oh, that's cool, dude.
gatefold. Yeah,
What's
it's
it called?
gatefold
Live
one.
where?
This one's live in Glasgow, December 19th, 1977. It's got Pinhead riding the bomb there. And I got a couple bootlegs. This one's limited edition, 75 of 300. This one was live in 1977, FM broadcast, 4 Acres, Utica. Then I got this bootleg. This one's like final tour, classic 1996 broadcast. And this one's a gatefold.
Very cool.
Very cool. Hey, Richard.
I got one more live in New York, November 14th, 1977, 180 gram vinyl for bootleg.
Awesome.
Hey, Richard, you mentioned Johnny Ramone's politics. I think it's interesting because Johnny Ramone definitely was a conservative,
Yeah. And Joey was a liberal, hardcore liberal.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
So
the
I always
song
found it interesting. Yeah.
the
KKK
song
took my
KKK
baby away. Yeah.
The KKK song was written about Johnny, they went on tour when Joey was dating Linda, and when they got off the tour, Johnny ended up marrying Linda. So that the song is about Johnny because he's a conservative. He's the KK, metaphoric
Right,
KKK.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
the KK. See, Richard, it'd be like if you and I joined the band. I'd be the ultra liberal and you'd be the conservative.
Hey,
But
you know, I'm
it'd be
not.
a
I mean, I'm not
no, I
quite
don't
as easy
care.
to pigeonhole, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't care, dude. Yeah, I know what you meant. Um, but and there was also they didn't delve into politics, but Bonzo goes to Pitt.
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and wasn't it originally called "My Brain Is Hanging Upside Down"? And
Yeah.
it was Joey Ramone, and correct me if I'm wrong, criticizing Ronald Reagan because Ronald Reagan apparently laid a wreath where Nazi soldiers were
Yeah.
buried. Now I'm pretty sure that was not intentional by Ronald Reagan, but
No.
that's what the song's about, right? Oh,
Yeah, that's Joey's response to that. And then here's the 12-inch there of I got of a, I've got the 12-inch there, 12-inch single. His picture of Ronald on it.
so
I don't
how
know if
did
you
that
can.
get past Johnny Ramone?
Well,
That
I mean,
picture there.
apparently he was willing to work with him. I mean, so yeah.
Hey,
I mean, he worked,
probably
but
Johnny like that Reagan did that.
when Joey was sick, Johnny didn't go see him, and he when he asked if he was going to visit Joey, he said no because we weren't friends before. I'm not going to go pretend to be friends now. So I mean, I guess he was consistent, if nothing else. So
He,
Well,
he did also say in the interview, I do love the guy, but I didn't want to bother him and this and that.
I'm sure they, if anyone's been in a band and you spend that much time with somebody,
So they
forget politics. You just can't stand being around each other after a while.
right, yeah, exactly,
they would
They
tour
say they didn't talk for like 20 years. Yeah, they didn't talk
right.
for like 20
I,
years on tour.
and
I
they would
think once the girl went with Johnny, that's when they ceased communication
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yep.
they had they would tour in a minivan and they would
Yep.
spend 18 hours in a minivan not saying a word to each other.
And
That's
they had
just
their
hard to believe.
designated seats where they all sat in the same seat, and
Yeah,
that was it.
yeah. When this book, Marky's book, I mean, he's a nutty guy too, but he does delve into a lot of the OCD traits of Joey and all the pain he caused the band and being just OCD and he there's a story in there he talks about they had to catch a plane to Europe and Joey lived in Alphabet City there and they went to put him in a van to go to LaGuardia and they left but he didn't touch every crack in the sidewalk before he got in the van. So they were on the bridge, going to JFK, and he had to turn around and go back to Manhattan so Joey could touch the handrails and touch the cracks in the sidewalk with his feet and all this stuff. And it was like, I mean, he really, he was OCD so bad that, he'd walk up a flight of steps and take a step down and walk up. He had all these little tics and traits, and I guess it started to
Yeah.
really get on their nerves. But yeah,
Well, that would get on anyone's nerves.
right,
And
right.
unfortunately, back then, they didn't treat mental health the way they do now. And not only that, even if they did, I doubt the Ramones are sitting on a pile of great health insurance companies to help them out,
No,
So, yeah. I mean, the music industry doesn't look out after their own, honestly, and they never have. And,
The Ramones ain't no Metallica. They didn't hire no shrink.
they didn't cry about it on a tour bus. Yeah.
Hey Richard, you told me a cool story about this about getting something autographed and then Marky wouldn't sign it. You got to tell that. That's pretty funny.
Oh man, on that the day that all my photos got ruined, or the day that I ruined them, that was on the Brain Drain tour, And it was so. I mean, they were nice people. They weren't like rushing or rude or like, oh, leave me alone. I've got things to do. You know, they were all really down to earth, and we're signing autographs, and it wasn't that many of us there, but somehow I missed Marky on the Brain Drain they signed, and years later he came back with the Misfits, or I think it was the Misfits that had
Yeah, with
Dez
Dez.
in it,
Yeah.
and I asked him to sign it, and he said no, he's not signing it because the other autographs were fake. And what's weird, it was at the same venue that the Ramones played, the Masquerade Club here, and I said no, it was here on the Brain Drain tour, and he's like, no, those are fake. The Joey and Johnny's are fake. I'm not signing it. And it's like, dude, I'm the one that got it signed. You signed it right here for me, and then you went upstairs. You thought you were done with everyone, and he just kept swearing on his life it was fake. And I was like, oh my god, dude. So yeah, he was a weird. Marky could be weird too at times. I got him on it later. I think I didn't dig out any CDs. I dug out some vinyl, like sort of grails, but I didn't dig out any CDs. But yeah, he was a weird guy. Absolutely adamant it was fake. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna fake a Ramones autograph on a CD and then get you to sign it. I was like, okay. It was bizarre, dude. I mean, you confronted with that kind of attitude by people that you admire, and you want to say fuck you, but you just keep trying to be nice about it. But
It's fake, man. Look, Joey spelled Joy.
yeah. Right. Well, speaking of autographs, my holy grail of I got a few things, but this is a Rocket to Russia test pressing.
Wow, cool.
And I didn't get it till about 88. So the first time I seen the guys again was Brain Drain. So it's signed by Marky and CJ along with Joey and Johnny, just because, but it's a test pressing, and it's pretty rare, but yeah. And then I got the Carbona Not, the Leave Home with the first American pressing has Carbona Not glue, which they took off. They replaced it with Sheena's a Punk Rocker on the second press because they didn't want to get sued by the Carbona Glue Company. So people were huffing the glue back in the 70s. But yeah.
Wow.
So,
glue.
But the great thing about the Ramones is they had a great sense of humor. Everybody's doing those aid projects, and Ramones did one. Ramones aid, hands across your face. It was.
They had the great video for that at the time.
Yeah,
too.
there is.
The video.
It's hilarious.
Had like
yeah.
Yeah, they had movie stars in the
I
video.
believe
and
it's
stuff.
I believe it was for something to believe in, right?
I think it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, yeah. But they had
Yeah.
like the signs for that in it and stuff.
Yeah. And I Don't Want to Live This Way, produced by Jean Beauvoir of the Plasmatics, who was going on to do soundtracks by then. But yeah, they were funny. They had a good sense of humor.
Hey, I just noticed Helen at the Moon was produced by David Stewart of the Eurythmics.
What album?
Too Tough to Die. Just one song, Howling at the Moon. That's the one with the keyboards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
And
Well,
Erdely is Tommy, right? That's Tommy Ramone, guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
what's going on in the peanut gallery? Anything?
Wayne?
I haven't been watching. I've been working on something. People just talking.
Yeah, people just been talking back and forth, making comments. One guy says Marky's hair is fake.
No, it's not. That's real.
Yeah, just like Jolyn Turner's hair.
Yeah.
Paul Stanley.
Yeah, Paul Stanley.
I still got a few things. I still got a few things to show.
All right, go for
it. Here's a couple of tribute CDs. This one's tribute to the Ramones. We're a Happy Family. I think Rob Zombie did the cover for that.
I
Oh, that
like
was
You know,
Yeah.
it's got Eddie Vedder and
I
Did
like
Red Hot
Kiss
Chili
do rock and
Peppers,
roll?
Rob Zombie.
What's Kiss does something on there?
rock and roll
They did.
radio, dude.
Yeah.
It's a
Do
great
you
cover.
remember
Yeah,
rock and roll radio? Yeah.
Great cover.
and Metallica does 53rd and Third. Here's another one, tribute to the Ramones, Gabba Gabba Hey. This one's got like Bad Religion and White Flag and a bunch of stuff like that. It's hard to read all these things. It's really small. That's this one, like the sneakers are blown off. Then I got a couple other DVDs. This one, It's Alive, 1974, 1996, Ultimate Double DVD.
That's excellent. Ralph,
I
if
used
you
to
don't
have
have
that
that, track that down, Ralph. You don't have that.
It's on
Wayne, you
somewhere.
too. You'll dig it.
Oh, I have that. I have it.
This
Okay.
one, Ramones Raw.
That's the documentary we were talking about earlier, right, guys?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the other
No,
documentary.
that's the this is the other one, Ramones Raw. And then here's like a bootleg one, the Ramones Shock Treatment, 1978 concert plus CBGB's documentary with Blondie and the Dead Boys.
Oh man.
Oh, that's fucking killer, dude.
And here's
A
an
little
old
bit of
VHS. Isn't what's that?
little bit
What's
of
that?
trivia for you. Cheetah Chrome of the Dead Boys is in the Pet Cemetery video, walking around.
He is? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yep. He's the
Here's
bald
a
guy.
old VHS Ramones Around the World, produced by Marky Ramone.
Oh,
VHS. And here's one of those classic albums or rock milestones. The album, the Ramones with Pleasant Dreams. It's like a whole DVD on just that album.
Wait a minute. Pleasant
And-
Dreams, not even considered a classic album. I mean, I like
Oh
it.
yeah. Yep, it is. There's a lot of great songs on that one. This one, the We're Out of Here, Ramones. I got this one signed box set signed by CJ Ramone. I think I showed this when we had the little box set things, but it comes with like a VHS in there. It's got the final show ever there. And here's a Joey Ramone like 12-inch action figure. It's like from the the cover of
See, that's what I mean. They
album.
have action figures and they've got
That's awesome.
yeah, and they've got Funko Pops, and I mean, suddenly they're part of the culture. It's kind of strange to me.
I got this one. It's a big clock, Ramones clock, made out of like glass. Cool. And just another poster. I got some posters behind me. They're old. There's old Ramones calendar. This is one of CJ's other bands, the Los Guasanos. I got him to sign it.
Did you
Here's
say
an old,
Gusanos, Spanish for worms?
Gusano. Yeah, that's what it is, right? Yeah, Los Gusanos. It's spelled weird. The logo is like really weird on here. I can't even remember what it sounds like, but it's a cool old Ramones hat with metal there. It's got like the Ramones thing. Hey ho, let's go on the back. Is a old patch. Is air freshener. This is
Feels like leather.
There's
Feels like
Ramones
leather.
coaster. Ramones tin filled with Ramones coasters. It's got like different album covers. Here's my oldest shirt for the Ramones. It's a long sleeve, like the classic like thing. But the cool thing about it is when you read the names, you could see this was when Richie Ramone was in the band.
yeah.
Most of them have like Tommy on there. And oh yeah, I got some. It's like I'm drinking out of a Ramones beer mug, but I got a couple pint glasses, and that one and that one, and then I got some shot glasses, the same prints on it. And already showed the oh, here's something I didn't show you. Is I got a snow globe, Ramon snow globe. It comes with a little leather jacket on top. Got the little leather jacket. It's got a ripped jeans going around the bottom of it.
I think that kind of stuff is hilarious. I think it's cool, but like, wow, who are they marketing that to?
Obviously,
Ralph.
you're
My
kind of
my
Ralphus.
wife my wife who collects snow globes, and that was something like these guys were saying kind of earlier was they're such an easy band to get into and such a catchy band. Like when people like he say they played it for his daughter and she was singing "Beat on the Brat." I remember our niece was came to visit us when she was real young, and she caught on to AC/DC and the Ramones. They were like the two bands that were so catchy to her that she liked it. And I think if you're ever like if someone's like looking to get into this kind of music at all, like it's a good place to start is like the Ramones and AC/DC because it's just super catchy. Oh, here's the one last thing I got to show is so he already talked. I showed this the one time with the box set
Oh
that came
yeah.
with the comic book and it came with all these CDs. But yeah, it's got like a really awesome book in here with like all great artists doing different Ramones tributes in there.
Well,
But
that's
then
really cool. That's like EC Comics. Yeah.
yeah, and but each one is like a different kind of like artwork style. Actually, there's like this even has like a Simpsons one in here and stuff.
Oh, that's really cool. So the cover's like EC, but everything else is whatever. Yeah. Okay.
It comes with 3D glasses. There's 3D art in here, but then here's like Dr. Seuss, but it's like the Ramones, and there's your Simpsons and stuff like that. But
Was that
yeah, this is
released
really
after
cool.
was that released after the band was
Yeah, I'm
everyone
pretty
was
sure
gone?
it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a tribute afterwards. But
Yeah.
Richard had bring up the Marky Ramone book. This was a really great reading all about the years with Dust. This was my first Ramones book. It's Ramones American Band,
Right.
and I got this. I got this in the mid '90s, and this book, like I've read a few books before this. Like I read No One Gets Out Alive, the Doors book, and Hammer of the Gods, the Led Zeppelin book. But back then, there really wasn't like a ton of books about bands. And when I got this one kind of got me started on my journey of like really looking to collect books about bands because I just loved this. I couldn't put it down. I used to read it on my lunch break. Everybody would go to the hour lunch break. They'd all go on lunch together. And I'm like, I'm working with these people all day. I wanted to be alone. So I started reading in my car. And then I just started finding books like this and reading them like every week I was reading a book because I'd spend an hour. But here's another old one, old Ramones book. Got a bunch of pictures. Here's Johnny Ramone's one, Commando, the autobiography of Johnny Ramone. This was really great. And
It'll take you about
you
an
want
hour
to
to
know,
read that, by the way. I used to have that. Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah, pretty easy one to read. Here's another really good one. This one pretty thick. It's Hey Ho, Let's Go, Ramones. Uh, yeah, and then uh, Dee Dee did two books: Lobotomy, Surviving the Ramones, and Legend of a Rock Star: The Last Testament of Dee Dee Ramone. So that's a pretty big stack of just all Ramones books. And then I got a bunch of other punk books that, of course, cover the Ramones. And yeah, I think I showed everything. Yep, that's it.
Right on. Did everybody show everything?
I got a
No,
few 12
no,
inches I can show you. I
no,
mean,
I did. I
You
didn't show
keep that
everything.
to yourself.
I didn't show everything. Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
wait.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about something else.
the human centipede. Look at that.
Wow.
Well, that's what Wayne was about to show you. Oh, you mean the
Okay,
cover?
yeah. And then on the
That
back,
that was Johnny Ramone's favorite movie is Freaks.
right,
That's why he had the
freaks.
pinhead and all that stuff.
Yep.
But that's all from Freaks. So
Have you guys
And,
ever seen that movie?
Oh yeah.
oh, it's one of my all-time favorites.
Their mascot
I
was
love-
one of the characters in the Freak.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then
the pinhead was,
something to believe in, 12 inch. And then
nice.
Pet Cemetery. I like that one with the photo from the movie. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I got a good little Ramones run here myself, but yeah.
Well, there you
In the
Oh.
chat, David L has a little trivia. While the Ramones Mania was their biggest seller, End of the Century was their highest charting album at number 44.
Really?
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the
Wait, that's the highest they charted. It was 44.
Hmm.
Wow.
The Phil Spector connection, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
I like the album, but I rank it at the bottom of Ramones albums. I mean, I like every album they did, but maybe I'm just biased and just don't like people who shoot people to death.
The album
Yeah.
cover makes me a little biased. If it wasn't the shitty album cover.
Yeah.
You
Why?
know, they would have been the perfect band for MTV. Why didn't MTV support them? I mean, I don't know.
And they had tons of music videos. They had music videos back when music videos weren't even popular.
When
And they were cool. I mean, why didn't MTV support them?
when MTV was very
Yeah.
young, they played Time a lot. That cover.
Yeah.
They used to play that video a lot, but that was in the early inception.
I
They would,
remember rock and roll high school video being
yeah, they
shown.
would play that one too.
Yeah,
And
I mean they had a movie. They had a whole movie, and Howard Stern was having them on all the time. And yeah, it's kind of weird how they kind of got glossed over, but happens.
it's weird, man. I supported that band. I never missed a show in South Florida after 1980, where I saw them on stage. And then, yeah, I think I've seen just about every tour they did. I've seen them well over, I was saying 20 times before, but
Wow.
15,
Wow.
about 15 to 20. That's,
Wow.
that's
Amazing.
and think about it. And
Wow.
I got some tour books and stuff that I forgot to grab. But I'm a huge fan, man. And while they were around, I was a huge fan.
Yeah.
And
Well, I was too, and I'm still a fan, and their music will live on. So thank you, Joey, Dee Dee, Johnny, and the various drummers. You guys rule. So thank you. Thanks for the music.
and and thank you all for joining us this week on Almost Human. We've been on here a while, hour and a half. And thank you, Richard, for joining us once again. And that goes for you too, Manny, Tony
Thank you.
Davies, Wayne. Thank you all. And we'll think of something for next week.
Thank
Till-
you.
Till then, schmack 'em up. Yeah.